Computer. Ken says he's still at work. All right, so let's get this party started, guys. Today, again, the topic is open conversation. So whatever you guys want to talk about, you guys don't want to talk about anything, I'll definitely lead with some conversation. But again, welcome everybody, and all the people that will view this on YouTube when we decide to upload it. Thanks for tuning in. So I'll kind of get started with like just any general questions just from some of the people already here. Like Rosemary, you know, I know that you have a directory that's been live for a bit, as well as you purchased, you know, a couple things to get you started kind of in the custom directory world.
Yep.
But how are you doing? I mean, you want to share some of your experiences, some of the things you need, or some of the things you're looking for, or anybody else as well?
I've got a couple of questions about, I mean, probably simple things, but just not working for me at the moment. One of them is the blog post images, you know, when it shows in the list of blog posts. I can't get the images so they're all matching, even though I set the featured image to the same size. When they show online, they're completely different sizes.
What site are you talking about? Do you mind if I look it up, or would you?
Yeah. No, that's fine. On Country Airstrips.
All right. So we're talking about like the latest news blog article section, which.
Yeah.
Find that. What's the easiest way right here?
Just go up to articles. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's take a look. So this is the original. Okay. This is the original Listing Pro layout, right? So their original blog post section completely is not my favorite. And when I say that, what I like to do, let me just see if by chance we did something on the homepage of articles. Kind of. Do you have Elementor Pro?
Yes, I do.
You know what I actually recommend is untake or uncheck the blog. So like where is it at? Yeah. So in the, what is it? Customize section, you're going to see like the homepage options. And the first one set to home. The second option is your blog poster page. I like to take that completely off because that is dedicating this as your blog. You know what I like to do? I like to create my cards with Elementor. And I'll just show you. I know this is not your site, but if I was here and I was creating, let's just say I have my title up here, and I have my blank section down here. If I were to just add that section and search for posts, I actually get a little bit more custom freedom. So post right here with Elementor Pro drags it in. I'll give you a couple featured, like just things that I like, right? And that's my my personal preference. So I'll switch this up to cards. I'll do the pagination probably to like 15 or 18. But first, what I really want to do is set it over to 1. That way I can see what my pagination is going to look like. So I run down these settings and I'll show you a few of them just that I like, right? The image size, maybe something like that. The title, okay, I'm down with the title. Excerpt length, I like a little bit shorter. I remove the date and comments from people that aren't really posting a lot. I don't want to show the date if you're not posting often. So that was just the metadata here. And then I like to remove the avatar because a lot of my clients just don't have their picture or gravatar set up. Then for my pagination, I like to go ahead and set it. It doesn't matter what I set it to, numbers, previous and next, numbers and previous and next. But the reason I set this was to 1 was so I could see the styling. So that's real quick. And then I go to the style tab. And I do numbers on it, right? So I want the border radius of 9. The image, I do a lot of spacing, so I don't want the spacing. I'll change the typography here, and then the content, I'll do the same thing. Typography, color, the read more color, right? We can mess with all that. And what you have is just a better layout. Everything's going to be equal, you know, and it looks good like that. You can even automatically, like if you don't have enough content here, or the titles are a little bit longer than the others, you can automatically line the buttons, which means that this button is going to line up as the same as the other button. Let me just put that back to something like 15. So this is what you get in the long run. And of course I style everything up, but it's a much better layout than just going with the flow, right? And
I know.
if you wanted to, you could even take it as far as, yeah, you could still have that sidebar, so your sidebar, maybe I edit the post or I add a new column and I say, hey, that column, remember, we're working on an articles page. That column is like this big, but the post, I just wanted 2 columns of 2, which is kind of what you have now. And now you've already replicated something that is just it's more flexible than, hey, this is what we got. Now, of course, the coder way is, I mean, first off, you can find images and crop them down to the same size. That's the non-coder way. And then you could also use some CSS styling and just say, no, all these have to be a max height of 250, but again, that's not as friendly as designing it on.
Okay, well, I'll give Elementor Pro a go then.
Yeah, I definitely like to do that. Even with Listing Pro, I like to set that up for my clients just because I'm not happy with their page here. I'll tell you something else I do is, let me find I don't like this page either. So although yours doesn't, yours has got content on it and it's not looking awful, but with Elementor Pro, and again, you'll have the recording in case you forget any of this, but you can actually go in and set a single blog post template. So if I was here and said templates and I want to add a new, and this is a little bit more, but you said, hey, I want to set it up for a single post. And I usually call mine the single post page template, just so I know later. I'm going to put delete in front of this. So this isn't on my client website. Actually, you know what? I might even have this. Give me a sec. Single. I do not. I gotta have it. Wait. One more time. Blog page layout is probably what blog page detail page. So here I called it a little bit something different, but what that does is it takes over whatever Listing Pro does, and you can design that page the way you want it. And I'll show you some tricks here because I don't want to put in everything. So what I have, we probably won't be able to see it now. Give me just a sec. Let me see if I can open it up. If not, I'll just visually show you. Preview settings, post. Let's just do something with the name premium in it. Nothing found. All right, so what I've done here is, I'm just going to view one. Is once you get the page open, you can design that page the way you want. And I'll give you an example just of his. And I know this isn't my normal layout, but what I did was, the first thing I did was I said, hey, I want the title here. And then I added the title. Hey, I want the featured image here. Hey, I want the content from the actual blog post. And then I said, hey, I want share buttons below that. And then I want the navigation below that. And you can see these bits and pieces, edit post navigation. I just literally drug in post navigation and drug it into where I want. Normally you can see this when you're building it. Elementor does something funny with me all the time. But you can just kind of see the bits and pieces. The title isn't static. So if you look, it's edit heading. And instead of having the add your text here, which is what I started off with, I styled it up the way I wanted. I just click on the dynamic tag thing and say, hey, I want this to be the post title. So every blog post has the title. And it's that way with everything. The image, same thing. I've set the dynamic tag to say, hey, I want this to be the featured image of the post. So every time you're going to have the featured image up here. The content section was a dynamic field, which I don't think you have that, but you definitely have, hold on, post content. You can drag post content right in here. Whatever you've done into your post, you can set up that way. You can also edit with Elementor. And what's going to happen is your whole blog post layout will be here. You still have the text, the title, but you can actually add this in Elementor too to make your post look a little bit better. And again, normally I do a sidebar, but this I didn't have stuff for the sidebar, so I just went full width. Your sidebar would be more static, just like you have it now. And of course, there's ways to not make it static, but you could easily just put this in your sidebar, or ads, right, or anything that you wanted. So give that a shot because I think you'll enjoy that a little bit more, especially with Elementor Pro, than just going like, hey, okay, I like this layout. It's just working.
Okay.
What else you got?
I think I just wrote down a couple of things. One of the things, if you've got time, was just talking about pricing guides. You know, I've got a plan with 3 different, well, actually 2 now, because once I had the free one, I had so many people just putting rubbish up there, you know, things that were not related to aviation at all. So I reduced it to 2, which cut all that out. But now I'm thinking, how do you deal with, for example, I might be going, you know, approaching businesses, say restaurants, but I'd want to charge a small cafe less than I would a big restaurant.
Well, for this,
Or
not for this site, right? For a different.
no, for this site also, because part of it is the idea of this site is that a pilot chooses the area they want to go to. There's all the airstrip details or the details,
Okay.
and restaurants, accommodation, and attractions nearby. So I've got all those places that potentially I'm going to try and get, you know, to put on a plan. Is it enough just to have like 3 different choices, or do you ever go with more?
Yeah, I definitely. So I want to talk in 2 different insights, because I know some people do have custom sites, and Anthony can definitely help me out with pricing and tiers. First off, I don't get a lot of spam on my site. I also haven't added reCAPTCHA, and we're talking about my custom kiteboarding directory, but I'm not getting those. I mean, I get a few, but it's not anything that's hassle. You know, it's easy. You know, if I'm talking about 3 a month. So something definitely is picking this up. You know, I seen that with a lawyer site. Instantly bots found it and were just like spamming the crud out of it. So with that being said, I know, talking from a listing pro standpoint, they have these plans, and it's been a while because again, I'm not using this as often. But they have plans back here. This is your site, sorry, that are exclusive to, I have to remember exactly where it's at. Exclusive to specific categories, right? And forgive me, you might have to turn this on in the theme options as well. But I do have people doing that, right? So they're making things for, you know, for restaurants only. Because you're right, if I was doing a business directory, a local barber, and I'm thinking like back in my time, a local barber who does $10 haircuts, he can afford $99 or $29 a month. Well, he can, but you know, compared to a hotel who one week is going to pay for the year, right? So it's like, you're right. Different pricing plan options are definitely a thing. I'm not a fan of what Terry did here. I'm not a fan, but I just think this was a little bit different. Where in her pricing plans, excuse me, Terry, if you ever watch this, she has her destination listings here. But then as you scroll down, and this is Listing Pro, as you scroll down, she's got tennis clothes, different types of plans here. And of course, she's having me rebuild this. I just put it in the switcher. So I'm like, hey, do you have a destination, or do you have a? So it's going to look much better. But you know, she does have this type of option where she's just created more plans. Now, keep in mind, we can actually build these plans out. If you haven't seen my video on YouTube, I actually show people how I rip these plans out and build them custom with Elementor or Elementor Pro, right? And the only thing we're stealing is the button. So could you have a nice layout where, you know, if you had 8 plans with Listing Pro, it's going to be 3, 3, and 2, and it's going to look crazy. Where you could watch that video, literally, I craft one of these. So you can kind of do what you want, and then maybe use that switcher for back and forth, or maybe have some different tabs, you know, where you're like, hey, this is only for this. To solve the free, your free issue, what about $1? You know, this is serious inquiries only. I know it's still not the freemium model, and I'm really popular on the freemium model, but $1, you know, doesn't eliminate you from somebody wanting to test you out, even if it's $1 for the year. You know, it's like, let's just give me your email at least. So But I know Anthony does quite a few directories too. Anthony, if you have a second, man, what do you think about? I mean, just any of those ideas and
There's a couple of things that come to mind. One would be making the link private so that it's not a public link. You don't, you make sure it doesn't get indexed. And if you're going directly to the prospect, and let's say in this case, like a hotel company, you'll want to send them a private link that is not publicly available to the internet. So that way
Yeah.
it would reduce the spam. And like I said, make sure you have it no indexed on Google so that Google
Yeah.
doesn't pick it up. Now, that doesn't mean that bots can't pick it up. And I think another way to kind of get around that is there's a plugin called Clean Talk. If you install that, that works really well with any type of form that works in conjunction with Elementor. So
Okay.
cleantalk.org, I think it was. So they're widely known. And I'm not a big fan of the capture thing. I mean, I get it, but it's annoying. You know, if it annoys me, I'm sure it's going to annoy the users. And so I just
Yes.
try to not include that at all. But Clean Talk definitely one. They do have like a free plan, and then it's so cheap that it's worth the money. I think it's like
Yes.
a couple of dollars per month or something like that. And
Right.
even yeah,
$8 a year isn't bad, right?
yeah. So
It's
um
pretty good, isn't it?
yeah,
Mm.
I think that that would be one of the ways I would go is to not show that pricing listing if it's exclusively to a specific clientele, and then when you approach the clientele, you just send them that link via email, and that
Okay.
would eliminate 80% of your problems.
Great.
I really like
Okay.
the no index definitely would help you out with at least some
Oh,
prevention. And I have heard a lot of good, I haven't tried it myself, but I've heard a lot of good things about Clean Talk in many Facebook groups. You know, so
mm.
if this became an issue, $8 a year, I mean, you can't really go wrong, right?
No, no, that's great.
But yeah, awesome. Maybe
Okay.
see, so that kind of answers some of that. And again, that video, I'll see if I can't pull it up while we're talking. Just say, well, you know what? I hate pulling up my YouTube channel because it shows my like shows everything I've been listening to. So give me a sec, I'll pull it in off and then pull it in. Well, what Ken says, I think Ken might have left. Yeah, Ken left, so we won't talk about it. Scott, what's going on, man? You're on mute. Feel free to unmute yourself. Scott does a lot of custom directories as well. Ken took off, but says his website is loading from the footer section when it's loaded. And I don't really know what would cause that, but yeah, we'll get back if you can. Any other questions? Anybody? I mean, we've got a smaller group today. I was hoping like 20 people showed up. But
So I just while we're waiting for people to kind of chime in, I don't know if you got
it's been a while since I've. Oh, sorry. So sorry.
oh, is there a feedback? Or is
No,
that a video playing?
it was mine when I opened up my channel. Sorry about that, Andy.
You're good. No, I was gonna say the recent release. I don't know if some people here use Crocker blocks, but their updated jet engine features that they just released. Like the particular ones is like geo targeting, geolocation.
Yeah. Have you used it?
No, I'm excited to though. I'm definitely gonna play with it. You know, I just haven't had a real case scenario to do it, but now that they did, I was actually wanting to build a specific type of director, but I knew that was one key component feature that was a must have, and I was waiting for that to be released, and I didn't know when. But since they just released
It
it,
works. It works. I can tell you it works.
how well does it work? Is there any catches or any issues?
No, it worked. It worked even much better than I thought, actually. It's hard to explain because I still haven't finished uploading a lot of sites to my website. And then today we just cleaned out all of the listings we had on our website because we're going to upload a whole batch we have, but we had some issues. So there's nothing there right now, but we tested it out and I followed WP Tuts. I followed his instructions and went through it, and it works really well. It was much easier than I thought. It looked complicated when I saw the video, and I was like, eh. But it reminded me of what GeoDirectory has been doing for a long time. So
Yeah.
it was interesting. So GeoDirectory, you can go in. Basically, you change the type of field into a geolocation. I think that's the name of the field. I'm not looking at it right now, but you
Yeah.
change it into a geolocation, and basically you can just scroll anywhere on the map where exactly where you want that listing to be. So it's pretty cool because when you set up your forms and the customer goes to the thing, they can pinpoint exactly where they say their location is, right? So they can pinpoint it and it's all up to them. So if they pinpoint it wrong, hey, that's on them. But it actually works. So they pinpoint it on the map, and boom, it puts the Latin long in the system and it loads up on the maps. It works as described so far. So it's
That's
pretty cool.
awesome. That's awesome. You just reminded me of something because I remember years ago I talked to the developer of geo location plugin, and one of the issues that I wanted to figure out how to do, they didn't do it at the time, and I'm wondering if Jet Engine can actually even do this. It's like, let's say you make a directory listing off of users, and then you can find other users near you based on their geolocation and your geolocation. I wonder if I don't know if how well you played with it, but did you see such an option to kind of use a person as a type of map identifier point, like, in terms of location wise, from one user to
I
the other?
I didn't mess around with anything like that, but I do know that one of the benefits of using the way it was, one of the added features or functions of it is that you could you no longer need the person who is viewing as a user the website where the listing is. You no longer need them to give Google approval to find their location. I do know that much. So it would automatically determine, based on a centralized point, I guess you set, it would determine from this point to that point is where the location is. So if they don't want to share their current geolocation, it won't show it. It
Oh,
won't.
so like a zip code, you're saying, like you can enter a zip code
Yeah,
and
like
it.
if you put a center point in the center of town of somewhere, it
Mm,
doesn't matter, like Miami, Florida, if you put that as the center point,
mm.
so then when you look up one of your locations that you've set up, if they don't allow geolocation based on their as a user, then it will just tell them, okay, what you're looking for is X amount of distance from the center of wherever you set it up in the system.
Gotcha.
I was
That makes
thinking,
sense.
so how about something like Uber, right? Or Uber or any one of your delivery services, Domino's, that will show you where they're at. I'm wanting to know because Anthony, I don't see a problem with it actually showing, like if I map my location right now and I put that into the website, I don't see the difference between a listing and a user, because both you can create as custom post types or you can feed out and change the users. But how would that work? Like what happens if I wanted like a find me service? So what happens if somebody is moving? They would have to re-enter their location, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, so I can't build that now,
Well,
but
I mean, it comes down to privacy things. So each individual who opens your website and looks for a listing,
flower block.
it throws out the request. Do you want to allow your location to be used? Then it will tell you from your location where the location you're looking for, but about backwards compatibility, seeing about where your users are from. I mean, you kind of get that without too much exactness from like Google Analytics, don't you? I mean, but I mean, if you want to track in live time, I'm not sure how you could reverse engineer that and do it. It might be doable, but
Well, the good
I'm not
news is a lot of people have been asking for that radius filter, like a lot of people, and I've even had clients turn me down because I couldn't do anything like it. And
No, the radius thing works. It works.
yeah, well now, yeah. So I'm super happy to hear that. So here's the new map enhancements that I've finally found. And I do like the fact that they're not solely using Google, which I've seen. Again, I just haven't been using. So it might be time to switch to longitude and latitude on the bigger sites and allow that to feed in instead of people maybe eventually getting charged through Google Maps, because I know people have concerns on that as well. So I like it. I like it. Location query. Yeah, awesome information. Anything else on that? I mean, so you haven't tried it, but Scott, you have. Anthony, you have it. I'd be interested in. I wish I had extra time, and we'd set something up and play around with it.
I'd show it to you, but like I said, we took our listings off today. We just took them off this morning because we were trying to upload You know, Crocoblock doesn't like doing a lot of importing very well, so it's a pain in the butt. So we figured out a way to do it, but because of WordPress timeout issues, it's not uploading the way we want. We have 2,000 listings to upload, and it got through like 9 of them, but it didn't attach the categories correctly. So we're
How are
trying to
you
figure out what's
importing
going
them?
on. My business partner, he's doing the PHP and the database stuff, but we were trying to import them via XML through the basic WordPress importer actually, which worked. If we do one listing at a time, it's fine. But you know, we want to try to upload. We tried to upload 100 listings this morning, and that didn't work. It timed out and it screwed up. It listed only 9 of them. Then we tried 50. It did the same thing. It only listed 9 of them, and it didn't list them all correctly. So if you went to the listing itself, it would show the categories and the taxonomies correctly. But on the homepage where I had the taxonomies listing them, it didn't attach them. It didn't get to that point yet. But he also figured out a way to upload, which was the hard part we had to figure out, was like images from and I'll just say it here, we're using scraped data that we had for a while, but we've manipulated the data a little bit. But the data has image links, and the image links, putting up the image links is uh, what happens in WordPress, so that for each image link it puts up, WordPress has to go to that link, download the file, and then it has to convert all the files, you know, for the thumbnail and the medium size, large, etc. And then it has to add the listing to your site. So it imported the images correctly. It imported the data from the file, but it seems to have gotten tied down on connecting the categories correctly. If you looked at an individual listing, the categories were listed, but if you looked at like an archive page where the categories were, nothing was listed. So we haven't figured that out yet, but we're working on it.
Anthony, you brought this up for a reason. So you have
Oh, no, yeah, no, I recently migrated an entire listing directory one time. I think I had like 300 items in the listing. And I did run into the timeout errors that you were speaking about.
How'd you
But
fix that?
so I had to do it directly to the database, right? So that one, I thought upping the server resources would fix that, but still didn't.
Mm-hmm. That's what we
So
found today, right? Set the timeout, max timeout,
yeah,
right?
so doing it directly through the database seemed to work. Um, but then you're faced with the issue, and what you kind of mentioned briefly was what happens is WordPress, when it generates new categories, they're assigned IDs as well. So they're different
Uh,
ID tags, and that's probably why your categories are not fully being added. So that's why if you do it through the database, it won't matter. And for me, I think 99% of it worked. I think there was like one item that was just had a bad data in it, but I was able to like migrate 99% of the 500 tables.
you're gonna have to DM me about that because I really need help with that.
I will
We
share
were
with you
so
guys.
excited today. We're like, oh, let's get these imported now. We had finally figured things out, and he tested like one or two, and it worked fine. And then we go for the big thing, and it's just like, yeah, screw you, Scott. You know.
Listen, I have a copy of WP All Import Pro, and then I am very successful with. I mean, so I know this is listing pro, but 6,116 listings. This is, and this
Yeah, but WPL Import Pro is what, like $200,
no,
right?
it's 99. You get the standalone, but again, contact me off video. I got a copy you can test, and then hopefully you buy it later. That's my disclaimer. But I will tell you, so the 99 standalone just for the pro, right? 299 is for like everything. So what happened was the company wanted me to do a video. They gave me access to everything, which is like users and like WP Export Pro is needed for custom fields. But I will tell you that with that $99 WP, the pro version, just for importing, here, this is a bad example because it was only 309. This didn't take maybe a few minutes. And I'll show you a little bit about what it does. I had it up for a second, but you just map your fields. And I don't have any problems because again, WP All Import, it can do it in batches if you're having
I
issues.
mean, I've used WPL import before when we've migrated a site because the free version allowed you to do the migration, and a lot of the hosting companies let you do that right away too. And they're kind of using some offshoot of that as well. I've seen the mapping before, and I did that a long time ago. Yeah.
Pro allows you to do custom fields. Without Pro, I couldn't do it, right? With just the WP all import, just the regular version, I didn't have custom fields. With custom fields, I add one listing with everything in it, everything possible, like my dummy listing, and it would pre-populate everything in here. And all of these little, my tagline, my video link would already be in here. If not, it's just the meta. It's the meta in the case where it's taxonomies, look, region, feature, event type, services, and these are all for her site. And then it just became a mapping. I've never had any problems, man, except for somebody who had a server in South Africa. It timed out after, 2,000 listings. And I'm like, bro, your server's whack. But again, you guys already know on the next page, you can actually set your timeouts and how many you want to do. This thing has worked wonders for my imports.
Yeah, I think WPL imports on the ball with it, and even Crockablock recommends using it if you're going to use Jet Engine. But Jet Engine is so tied up about allowing imports. It's really
Yeah, man.
frustrating that they want to charge you their money for their service, and they say, well, but the only way to import stuff is if you got to pay for something else. It's kind of like, come on,
Yeah.
I mean, WordPress has these built-in importer and exporter, and the built-in importer exporter to XML and to JSON and stuff like that works flawlessly. It really works really well,
Yeah.
as long as there's like no image links that are separate. That seems to be the big problem.
Hit me up after this, man. I got a copy you can play around
Will
with.
do. Yeah, down there, WordPress install now, right there. That part,
Yeah.
that's the
I've
import
used that too
export.
for basic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, basic stuff, it works fantastic, and even into Jet Engine it worked well. I just don't understand why it keeps timing out on us. And yeah, I think the WPL all imports probably gonna have to be the way.
Try the solution, man. I promise you, the solution is it's definitely a little bit easier, man. I don't have any qualms with it. And again, I do have to test it over and over and over, right? Because I'm always mapping the wrong field or doing something wrong.
Oh yeah, I mean, I did a backup right before we did all this stuff today. So I mean,
And a plugin that helped me with Crocoblocks, for anybody using Crocoblocks, is the plugin that Anthony suggested, which is the JSM show post metadata. That really helped out a lot, because if I imported something, let's say I imported something and I was like, well, why is that listing? This is not going to work here. But why is that listing, or that image not working? And I would scroll down and I'd be like, oh, because it's in an array, or oh, because it's a comma after the logo, or it's image gallery should be here. So it really helped me out a lot, like trying to figure out why some things weren't importing correctly. Maybe I had the wrong tag for it, So again, that it helped me out immensely. So I appreciate that. That has been a super awesome tool, buddy. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
JSM, what is it called? JSM?
There's two of them. JSM post meta. I guess you'll pull it up in a second, but
that's the one I've been using. The post
yeah.
meta.
There's post meta and user meta, right? So show post metadata, and that shows across any backend custom post type. So when you're trying to find out what the meta value is for a certain thing, you don't know. It could be for another plugin or another custom post type that may not be created by you, and you need to hook into that. Well, that's how I figured out how to do it, and it reveals the entire metadata, meta keys.
I'm gonna show you a big one for me. So a big one it wasn't listings because I created all that metadata, but there was some things like the switcher. If you use a switcher, so on some of my listings, I'll go into one so you can see it. I'm gonna add a new instead of showing this lady's site off. I've been doing the claimed switcher, and I didn't know what the value was. Like I just honestly didn't know. I figured on. I figured one. I figured
right?
true. I figured default. And when I came down here, once you turn it on, it'll tell you the value is true. And I was like, well, I tried so many different things to try to figure out, so now what I'm doing is if you submit a paid listing, automatically the claimed is set to true, right? Or, you know, if you claim a listing, it's set that you, but those are the type of things that I just didn't know. A better example of that was my, this site here, where I tapped into different products. And I necessarily, like with users and products, you don't always know what's being inputted. And if I were to go into, let's just go in one of these, it told me everything. Like it was like, hey, this is something you would tap into. Let's look at something valuable. The purchase note, you know, so I didn't know the metadata for that. I mean, I could right click it and get an idea. Price was another one Anthony had to help me with, because I could see something on right click, but I couldn't see the actual metadata inside of a physical product. You know, so that plugin has helped me immensely, and I'm putting it religiously on almost every site just to see exactly what values called. And sorry guys, for those of you guys using List and Grow, that doesn't make sense. So, but yeah, super awesome. So a lot of valuable resources there. Any other questions while we're here? What's up? I'm sorry, Scott.
I said thanks everyone. That was pretty cool.
Super cool. I'm trying to do a user event. Matter of fact, I've got another one with events, and we're using Takara and Takara as well as WooCommerce and the things that, oh, don't look at this page, I'm so sorry. Everything that goes into that, right? And with that, there was a lot of the value fields. I didn't even, sorry, my VPN is acting crazy. It was always just rough finding, especially when you have multiple plugins. And I'll show you another one. If we just open this up, one of the products. Again, a great example of all the metadata that can come into that, right? And I didn't even have to come here. I could have went to Takara, which is a whole nother one. So what I'm doing here is we're actually submitting Takara events, but I also needed to create a product. So on the front end, I need to create both at the same time. I need to create a ticket value. I also need to create a product at the same time. And especially with these third-party, you know, plugins, you have no clue what the value is. So if I were to go into here, I'll show you some of the values that you can see here. What does the date look like? What is the formatting? You know, because putting this in is not the same as my results on the back end. So it's like, how do I need to put that in? And it easily tells me, right? That's just one perfect example of some of the fields that I needed. So how do I show tickets? Well, it's just a number, you know, but hopefully that helps, man. Hello?
Yeah, I hear you. Everybody was quiet, but
I got no feedback all of a sudden.
no, that makes sense. And that's a Takara is that third-party platform that manages events, right?
Yeah, they handle the ticket side of things. So
Yeah.
the idea with this was selling a product that was based on a ticket. And, you know, you could, I mean, Takara just had so many, like they had the app that came with it. So I went ahead and purchased Takara for this client, but it allows them to create events and not only create products, you know, so yeah, we have WooCommerce products back there. I'll show you WooCommerce. You can buy a product, but what about the real ticketing portion of it, right? If I were to buy this ticket, no problem, I buy it as a user. But what about the person who submitted the tickets? How many tickets can they sell? Yeah, you could have done that with stock quantity, right? Stock quantity on WooCommerce will show this, but you won't get an excerpt of a barcode. You won't get, you know, all the things that come with Takara. And I'll pull up the site just so you can see all the, you know, Takara does the works for barcode scanning, comes with apps.
Yeah.
You know, all the ticket stuff, that you would need for like a base ticket system. So I didn't just use WooCommerce. I submitted the product to both.
So awesome. I actually remember discovering this company as well. And one thing I did not want to, what let me ended up not going with them was the fact that they don't have a front end submission form, right?
Yeah.
Because like, if you look at all of these calendar event systems, none of them are true by the sense of nature of a multi-vendor capability to allow you to do a front-end submission form. And I had done it for a client, and the closest one I came to was Modern Event Calendar. Modern Event Calendar had the most extensive capability, but was limiting because they forced you into their own front-end submission form builder. So if you Google like Modern Event Calendar, you'll see they have like a free version, but then they have the a lot of the other paid add-ons. That's how they're making money, and it's fine. But I've compared like over, I think, 15 different plugins, and I did like it's like 6 months of worth of research, and all roads pointed to this.
Where's your YouTube, Anthony?
I know, right? I know. And I convinced the client to purchase a lifetime deal when they had it, and it's so rich with features that it was awesome. But again, I kept hitting a dead end road when they did not allow you to custom build your own front end submission. It's like, oh, our user base doesn't need to do that. We'll just let them build it the way we want them to build it, and not the other way around. So
So the solution for that was CrocoBlock, right? CrocoBlock.
But it's still a problem. To this day, I cannot figure out how to tie into their how to make a custom submission form, a front end submission form.
So hopefully you just seen it, right? You create the form, but on the back end, my solution was to add it to both, right? I mean, I could have added just the one, but check this out. So I used 2 insert and update posts. One went to my events, which is obviously a Takara type deal. And then the other one went to my products. And now, so I just created something. It was really basic. I didn't fill out any prices, anything like that, but check this out. It actually put them into both platforms. That way I can pull information. So Takara events.
Yeah.
You see something with Anthony, and then also my products, because I couldn't feed off just that. I could only feed off products.
Yeah.
So, man, that was my solution. And I built that form from whatever I wanted.
Builder. Yeah. That's interesting because but see, it depends on the content that's being created. They had I'll tell you this, they had very complex meta values or meta key values. And in this case, they had like early bird special pricing. They had male or female variations in terms of pricing. They had pricing based on group discounts. I mean, we're talking really complex data. To kind of put that in a front end form it was a little heinous, because when I saw what the meta values, it was just generating a bunch of array values, and I was like, oh, how do I tie into that array value? That's where that plugin I showed you really helped, but it only took me so far, and I needed one of the developers to kind of chime in, and they would not let me in on that. They would say, nope, we're not going to tell you our meta values, our meta keys. It's only for the developers. I said, well, damn, okay. That left a bad taste in my mouth, and that was like over 2 years ago since I last messed with it. But and still to this day, they haven't allowed you to do a custom front-end submission form.
Nice. That's no. I know I had problems with this site for a while, man. It's probably a week until I found the solution, and I tried to just use products. I tried to just use Takara, and I was like, you know what, screw it. There's so much value, and I dislike using WooCommerce for.
Oh yeah, me too.
That's possible, but this solved a crazy solution. So right now, even better, we're going into split payments, right? So how do we split up a payment between somebody logging in and posting an event, and the user not taking 100% just in case it refunds later? And WooCommerce kind of saved that, because of course we all know WooCommerce has split payment plugins, especially with Stripe. And Stripe, you can do the app by yourself, but now I have a whole shop checkout where you can check out with whatever, right? So anybody around the world can find a payment processor. So it's been a fun learning experience. Site's nowhere near done, but it was really fun just to kind of see. And again, the JSMs, man, that was a lifesaver, bro.
I'm glad it worked out for you. I might pick your brain on some of the things that you did offline, but because I'm curious to seeing if there was any kind of limiting features when you came to building that front end submission form.
Yeah, let's definitely talk about it. As of right now, everything that she wanted was in there. But again, that was just taking your custom post site, opening up products and saying, hey, I want these additional fields. And obviously submission to that wasn't a problem. Can you search by that? We already know you can. So it was like, we did have to add some additional fields, but and Takara was only the platform for the back end users, right? Because what do they show? They show attendees and tickets, where I guess you could show users who bought this item, but it's not going to be the same. Barcodes, that's probably a plugin that you can buy, and it just got
Yeah,
really consuming with just buying Takara, right? I'll
yeah.
just solve it all there. Barcode readers and all that, but it's been fun. It's been fun. My plugin list is probably not as high as it would have been if I didn't use that 17. Shit, I guess it is. Oh, but that's all Jet stuff. Jet stuff. This can go when I'm done. The JSNs can go. But yeah, I guess it's Jet Engine. Either way, any other questions following up that or anything else? Well, I'll be here for a while, guys. So there's no rush. We're just kind of, yeah.
So if nobody's saying anything, have you explored at any alternate solutions besides WooCommerce?
I have. What was that plugin that was supposed to be coming out? I know you and
SureCart.
What was it?
SureCart.
Is that out?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's out of beta. SureCart. I don't know if it's .com or there you go. Yeah, it's SureCart.com.
In here.
No. Oh, okay. Yeah, no. I'm in the Facebook group and he said that, but he's launching it, but I guess he didn't say when. But
yeah, you and Scott both talked about this, man. I think it's promising. I've seen the video on it. Definitely more lightweight than WooCommerce. A lot of clients, it depends on, because I have clients all around the world, it depends on what they need, right? If it's Stripe payments, matter of fact, if it's just a direct Stripe, I can do a button from your Stripe account with a redirect link and save anything, at its limits. But then comes in place where they need Stripe and PayPal, or they need subscription, or they need, so it just depends on the client. A lot of times I'm using WP Smart Pay, which I got on AppSumo, I think via Scott, when he recommended it. And this has been great for subscriptions, single payments, and also features WooCommerce and, PayPal and Stripe. So it's been, and they have some other ones as well. But those,
I think SureCart's going to be basically the same thing right now. For now, I think if they said it's going to be free, quote unquote, but that it's going to be, once it starts doing with individual products like a la WooCommerce style, then it's going to be a paid thing. So I'm not sure. You might want to watch out for that.
Yeah,
might grab it up early. Ken, we did see your last message. Said something about a website is loading the footer section once loaded, or isn't. Maybe you meant to write. Can you elaborate on that, or maybe share your site? We can take a look. I do recommend anybody doing custom websites. I mean, again, WooCommerce is a big bulky plugin. I love it if you're selling products. But again, if you're not selling products and you don't need 3 pricing plans, these smaller options that don't hog up a database and load all this stuff you don't need has been crucial. What is it? Stripe Simple Payments. I think that was a free one.
yeah.
If you just need Stripe and don't want to do the API integration, that was an easy one. Unfortunately, with overseas people, like I don't want to learn the API for their fast pay or whatever they may be using. So I'm just like, look, we'll load up WooCommerce and you can utilize it. Hopefully you sell products later. But I guess, depending on the person, I don't charge enough to learn API for 50 different countries, or how many other different countries, more than 50.
Yeah.
But perfect. He posted his link. Let's take a look. So you say your footer is giving you issues. It isn't loading or is loading? We're loading first. Let's just find out. When you launch the web page, it will load, but the footer will remain as the loading section. The footer is loaded for me. I'm not sure if this is on your end, but hopefully you can see my site. I'll pull it up a little bit. But your footer is definitely showing.
When you launch the web page, it will load, but some of the footer will remain as the loading section. Try a new incognito browser.
I'm opening it up. You guys won't be able to see it because I'm not going to stop share and reshare, but I'm trying an incognito browser as well.
Same thing, right? Yeah.
And I have a full black footer that looks exactly like the page I'm showing you. So it could be on your end. I'm sure a couple other people are going to try as well.
And Ken, is it desktop or mobile?
I will tell you something I don't like about Listing Pro. Not to bash anybody, but the search, oh, let me do it on the non-incognito so you guys can see it. But the search page, I can't get a footer to show up there for the life of me. I had to rip open the template. If you have the map listing, VPN, come on. All right,
Like Listing Pro.
now your page isn't loading at all. Is that just me? Oh, okay. Is anything loading? Yeah, everything else is loading. Your site can't be reached, bro. Oh, wait. No, Facebook's loading. Your site is. Maybe it could be VPN, sorry. Yeah, footers there, but watch search. If he does the map, that thing is bogus. Yeah, he does the map. Look, no footer. Gotta love it. I tried ripping this open with template files. I finally found a small solution, but it sucks because it was like 3 template files later. It's like, why don't we have the footer here?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, whole new world. Contact support. I don't, yeah, well, I don't know. Ken just left. I guess he wasn't happy with that. Welcome back, Ken. Rosemary, any questions while we're here? I know you should have a bunch. That's why you stayed up till 12.
No, I think I've answered pretty much a lot of them. The only other thing is, I remember you saying don't update WordPress until they, from 6 until they bring in the next update. Is it okay to update it now?
That's a good question. Grab a backup. Make sure you have a backup, and maybe in the morning, give it a go. Unfortunately, so I am
Go for it.
I definitely have a backup, but matter of fact, with me, you have a backup at 6 or 7 my time every morning. So,
Okay.
I wouldn't make any changes that day and just go for your, oh, that's horrible. I'd go for your backup. Let me explain for everybody else who doesn't know. And forgive me, I wish I had more time on my own website. This is embarrassing. But Jet Engine 3.0, right now, I should have definitely upgraded to 3.0. When you get a major update, right? So I'm on WordPress 6.0.1 on this custom website. I haven't checked it with Listing Pro. I'm not 100% sure. When I do my updates for my clients, I check one site after, on a test server. And then once it's good to go, because we all use the same plugins on most of those Listing Pro sites that I manage, I'm usually comfortable with it. There's some like Yoast SEO, not Rank Math, Yoast SEO. I know that's not going to break my site. I've been updating it all the time when it comes out. There's nothing that usually could possibly break my site. So I just trust that. But you're right, major updates. So like Elementor is on 3.6.7. I felt comfortable updating this, because it wasn't 3.0. It's not 4.0. It's hey, we're just making small changes. Now, this doesn't mean it can't break your site, right? If this isn't compatible and other people haven't caught up, right? So let's say, matter of fact, PHP 8.0 and 8.0.1 and 0.2, I think now are out. I haven't upgraded any of my sites, nor do I even fathom. I might try a new site, but I heard that was going to be like a game changer. And until everybody else catches up to the game changer, I can't be the guinea pig.
When you say game changer, are you talking like in terms of speed?
They said a bunch of things. Many months ago, they said they're going to redo the way the system works. And I was like, well, that sounds horrible because that's going to break everybody's sites. And I think that was a lot of the comments. So again, I haven't personally tried it. I have a client that tried it with Listing Pro and Medical Pro recently, and Elementor did not work. When we deactivated Elementor, it worked. And I was like, dude, definitely downgrade. And as soon as he downgraded his PHP version, it did work. Meaning, I don't know if Elementor is caught up. I haven't tested it. Maybe it was a combination of Listing Pro, Medical Pro, or Elementor. So yes, Rosemary, I'm not the guinea pig. Again, these should have all been updated. So don't take my personal site as an example. But yeah, if it's 0.0. I want the 0.1, right? Where they came out and said, hey, we fixed all the bugs.
Yeah, well, that's what it is at the moment. I think 6.1 or 0.1, not sure which. Okay, I'll go ahead and update it then.
Yeah, I say go for it. Let me know if you have any problems. You know, again, having a backup in place, nothing could ever go wrong, right? You can always
Yeah.
back up. And the only downfall to backups is I don't do a lot of work that day. So mine happens at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Most days, not all days, you guys know this, but most days I'm hopefully just waking up at that time. So if I want to try anything new, like updating all these plugins, I do it in the morning. I double check everything. If I need to roll back, I roll back. Another common thing is, you know, people tell you, if I was making $1 million on this website, I definitely wouldn't update here. I create a staging server every time, check it there. But this site's not making $1 million. And it's just, I don't know if it's the lazy method, but it's just easy for me to say, hey, at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll just roll back. Like that's quicker than me trying to stage and test. And but yeah, definitely something to think about. My site's a bad example. Anything else? Any input on that? How are you guys? I know Anthony uses some programs to kind of, I mean, well, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say there are a couple ways, and I'm right here with everybody else when I say I dread, doing backups and well, not backups, but more updates than anything. But obviously it goes without saying having backup is a must. I'd either not always rely on the automated backups, but the manual as well. There's two other plugins that I also use as a extra step. Is I use the WP Migrate, all-in-one Migrate. That is fantastic, especially if you have a small site. Even a big site, it still works, but you have to pay a little bit more. I think it's $99 one time, and then you get the plugin. And I've been using it for the past couple of years as well, and that it works like a charm if I'm in a pinch. It's rated like with over 4 million users that are using the plugin. Like I said, if you have a small site, it's great because it's still free. But when you start to export anything over like 250 gigs, that's when that becomes a paid solution. And I just purchased their one-time fee of unlimited sizes, and then bam, I was able to do it. But the main thing is for me, now that I'm also using Cloudways, I just do a staging, and then I do the updates if I really want to test it out and see if anything breaks. If something breaks, I was like, all right, I'm gonna leave it alone. So in most cases, that's that right there was a telltale sign to tell you that don't do this update because it's going to be a visual breaking issue and stuff like that. So not oftentimes, I always tell any of my clients, do not update and let me worry about that. And that's how I go and approach it.
I will back that. I actually paid for the plugin as well. I was looking without stopping sharing my screen and trying to log into my account. It's 512 megabytes is under free. Once you have some data in your site, it becomes a paid solution. But again, I use it over and over and over on multiple sites for that one license. So it was definitely worth it. And the cool thing about the migration plugin, I know back in the day, like Cloudways does it too. If like Cloudways migrate, it changed all my links as well. But like I really had a problem with like just migrating a site from one site to the next. And then you had to do search and replace to like replace all your link instance. The good thing about this plugin is it does it automatically. So like if I wanted to migrate this over to another website just to kind of test things. Nowadays, the cool thing, like Anthony said, most of your hosting providers offer that staging solution. So it's like you can stage, I didn't trust everybody with my backup solutions. So I used to do manual backups all the time. But now that I'm comfortable with Cloudways to do offsite backups instead of just, hey, if my server were to blow up today, do I lose my website? And with the offsite backups, I've been really comfortable with just letting them do it, right? And hopefully I don't get burned on that. But I have a bunch of sites, and I'm trusting that the service is what it is. So super cool there. And Resmery, you definitely have staging. So if you need a staging site at some point, let me know.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Any other questions on importing data, content? Any questions in general about your website? Ken, we see you have 1,000 users last month visit your site. That's good. setting up a payment plan. I need more than 5,000 to start. Wait, I need to get more than 5,000. You know what? I started my payment plan. So the question is a little bit weird. I have 1,000 users last month visited my site. When is the best time to start setting up a payment plan? I need to get more than 5,000 to start this process. And I'm thinking maybe that's a question. I start my payment plan day one. If you chose to sign up day one and you wanted to upgrade your plan, which I think, let's talk about plans though, right? So I think a plan, and again, you've probably already heard, I'm down with the freemium model, sign up for free, limited options. Or for a few more bucks, you can get more options, right? And then for mega money, you can get all our options, or maybe yearly. It doesn't matter what your pricing plan is. But I would have been started that. You know, I've had people on, before the site even launched, I had people purchasing and then asking for a refund because we didn't approve them. And I was like, dude, the site's still got dummy text on it. Like, I don't even know how, you know, but Google indexed it. They found the site, and you know, day one or before day one, they were already making a purchase. I'd entertain that. Now, realistically, on my site, I do need to have some type of value. So yes, I started my payment plans, but I didn't start approaching people until I had some type of value. Because again, if you have 1,000 listings that were imported on your site, but you don't have any traffic, what value is that company going to receive? And that's great. For $9.99 a month, maybe they don't notice. Maybe they get one leads. Maybe you know, anything in that scenario. But it's just like, I do want to have value before, like, especially with like advertising options. Definitely want to be like, look, man, I've got 50,000 visitors here. This is what they're looking for. Would you like to advertise on my site? And that doesn't always have to be a paid listing. It could be spot promotion advertising, a logo in my footer. It doesn't. So again, get the traffic. Traffic is going to be key to a directory. So again, if 100 people sign up and find no value, great. You made 100. Let's just say you sell plans at $10. You made what, $1,000 bucks. So what? $1,000 is great, but don't get me wrong. If all those people just quit, you haven't really done what you're trying to do. So offer a value, get your traffic, build the traffic, and after that, sign up should come, especially if you're advertising like that. You know, that's why on the kiteboarding directory, I went as far to, and please, I know I'm not working on the site now, but the idea and the mindset is there. I want other things, right? You want a forum, you want blog posts, you want things that will bring the traffic. And if your traffic is good, what is it? Field of Dreams. For those of you guys who are a little bit older, if you build it, they will come.
Yep.
Yeah, you're showing your age there, buddy. But yeah, that's exactly right. You know, if you don't have that traffic, who cares if somebody signs up? You made $9, but it's not valuable for them. It's not valuable to you. Hopefully, they fall into it and just keep going with it. But so you're right. Free listings, I definitely would have a paid listing right next to that. I do have some people that do promo stuff where, yes, you can sign up right now, you know, for our first 90 days, we're in beta. You can sign up right now for free. And then they include those payment plans afterwards, but they had that planned in mind, right? Or maybe you display the payment plans, even better. Display the payment plans, let them know what it would cost. But right now you can sign up for free, right? And get that interactive, you know, them signing up today, not in 3 months.
And I can agree more to that sentiment, what you just said, Tim, that high traffic means high dollar value. You know, you can literally write your own ticket if you do that. And I've kind of, with a couple of my clients, I've proven them. They say, you know, oftentimes they say, oh, why do I need to do a blog? I don't need that. You know, word of mouth is enough. But I'm like, how many people can you actually touch with word of mouth references for your website? And then how many people can you get off of an article off of Google through organic searches, you know? And when I showed them, I wrote them an article a while back that's now producing them about, I think, $400 or $500 a month on just residual income, and they loved it. Ever since then, they contracted out several writers to continue writing blog posts for them. So it goes without saying, you know, blog posts definitely one of many value keys for a directory listing, because you want that organic search. Because once, and that's the thing with directory listings, though, that type of data is static, given the fact that once it's up there, it doesn't really change as much. But the content that keeps changing, keeps adding, would be, you know, blog blog posts or maybe new listings. But other than that, what's another reason why Google will come back to your site and keep crawling your site for new data, right? Other than the listing would be your blog posts. In this case, that would also be a big portion in driving traffic, I think.
Yeah, definitely. SEO is definitely a huge value. It's a little bit longer term, but you're right. I think I've mentioned it plenty of times. I jump into the Facebook groups and show them exactly what you've got. Like, hey, where can I do this? And I'm like, oh, you can do it right here. Like, here's 20 different places you can do it. Just filter that out for them. That's definitely bringing traffic as well. Well, awesome. Great ideas, guys. Scott probably hates this site.
Well, why? Well,
Never seen it before. I don't know what you're talking about, Tim.
Scott did a lot of the back end work, man. I love the client to death. If he sees the video, I apologize. But it's one of those clients we just keep adding stuff. We just keep adding stuff. We're not really adding to a price, and I just keep agreeing. I'm just like, oh. So it's definitely robust, and Scott spent a lot of hours on it. I know you can't see it from this page, but I promise he spent a lot of hours on it.
it is a full-on.
Show them the
solution.
back end, Tim. Come on, show them the back end.
Is this full-on Croggle blocks or is this?
It's Crockablock Elementor, yeah.
Okay.
Full on Google Blocks, and then apparently we don't have a
Oh, the way it looks pretty and everything is all Tim. Tim's got that pretty boy touch to it, so it's no problem there.
we didn't style this up at all. So actually, Scott, you might have styled it up. But there's just so much going
The
on.
form, yeah, I styled up. The best thing about the form was right there, that being able to switch to the hierarchical, what did they call it, Tim? Hierarchical select field.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is Jet Form Builder or is it Jet Engines?
Yeah, it's Jet Form Builder. Yeah.
Oh, good, thank God, because I was gonna say, as much as I hate making that
Look,
transition,
I will say this for Crockablock. Jet Form Builder is amazing. It really is. It really is.
I
It's
have a
really good.
hate-love relationship with that, but
I can understand, but it is so much easier than the old legacy version, as they call it.
yeah.
Scott, wasn't this like the first this is the first major incorporation of just using Jet Form Builder? I think we did it a couple times.
Yeah, this is the first time we really went deep into Jet Form Builder. And they just came out with 2.0, I think, when we did this, and they had the hierarchical there, so that the way the site was set up was that depending on what kind of listing, if they had a restaurant or if they had a hotel or if they had a bar, it would determine which fields they needed to continue filling out in there.
Oh, wait till they see this.
Oh yeah. You're gonna show the
Oh
back
my
end?
God.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's crazy. That was the crazy part.
Wait, and it still fits on the screen?
So we found out.
It doesn't really. You click one though. The thing is that the best way is, instead of highlighting it like that, you have to click it first and let it list underneath it.
Oh yeah.
Click it.
So the crazy thing is,
There, that's the better way to see it, because if you click it on the other way, sometimes it goes on the bottom
Wait,
screen. You
but this
can't
is only
scroll down
11
yet.
items. Oh no, he went into.
No, he opened listings and now they're on the left-hand column instead.
So
Instead of
Oh, gotcha.
I found a better way to do it, but unfortunately, we're not going to redo it here. But the better way to do it is inside the meta. The meta, once you select something inside of a listing, you can have this stuff open up. And at the time, I didn't know that those meta fields could also be searched. They definitely can.
Yeah.
So it's having search fields inside of here. This is crazy because not all are.
Jet Search is really good about searching meta fields too. Yeah, it's really good.
So this was.
Those are all taxonomies right there, right?
Yeah. And the bad thing is.
Those are all taxonomies, and I know every one of them very detailed.
That's so funny. I thought you'd get a kick out of it. The bad thing is we only need a few for each category. So like you're only using the things for stay. But again,
Yeah.
Mark, thanks for coming. No problem, man. I know we got kind of off base. What was the other one? So this is the site that I learned that you can search that with.
Here's Mark.
Yeah, Mark is definitely taking off. He's in the chat. I've seen him in a few of our groups. There he goes. So yeah, we've got Ken and Rosemarie. If you guys have any general questions or any input, keep in mind these will be posted to YouTube. So I think, you know, it's a value not just for the people here, but a value for anybody kind of looking to get into a solution, whether it's directory. I will tell you, I talked with, what is it, Directorist, or what was that? I posted in my Facebook group, and Buddy was like, hey, you can try this out. It looks way more promising than Listing Pro. And of course, I personally probably won't go back to a theme. And I'm sure Anthony and Scott, you guys already know like why. Like I don't want to be boxed into that.
Yeah.
But the theme actually looks really promising. They're
What
working
theme is that?
4.0. Let me just find it. So the guy was like, hey, you can check out my login if you want. They're about to come out with this new release. And it looked really promising for directories. And then what happened was I just reached out to them on Envato. I was like, hey, hit me up. I have a few questions. They hit me up personally. I was like, look, this is my YouTube channel. This is what I want to do. And they're like, oh, listen, in 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to be launching this. We'll just send you a copy. So I think I'm going to do a full review on, give me just a sec. It's right here at the top. I thought.
Oh, tell me it's Will City.
Oh, no, that's old.
Yeah.
This, hello, everybody. I've seen, I used the theme a few years back. Is it? It is this one. So this is where I said, hey, I reached out. I should have a copy, but take a look. And again, if you're outside the box now, it's not going to be, but I'm thinking about just doing a full review on me playing around in here. More for YouTube and people not wanting to go Croco Bog, but check it out. And so it's Java directory, I guess you can find it, but I'm going to let it load. And
Oh, I think I know what this is.
it's got the Elementor builder, which I'm liking. And I watched
Is JAVO or something like that?
Yeah, Java, JVO.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But the thing I like,
It's been around for a while too.
Yeah, version 4 is supposed to release some awesome things that they had problems with before. But again, I think even just watching the quick video that's running through with your bullet points, and you can do like a walkthrough, and you can, I was just really digging it. And the fact that, you know, it's going to be Elementor based, you know, where you're not stuck with a layout like Listing Pro or Will City or something like that, where you can kind of customize everything. Oh, I was digging it. Again, not for me personally, but for those guys that you know, their styles are obviously basic.
Yeah,
check it out if you get time, and if not, you know, I'm definitely going to do a video on it as soon as they pass it over. More for, you know, the directory side of things, because I support directories.
Bricks.
Yeah, I know, right? They're not ready for that, Scott. They're not ready. They're not ready. They're not ready.
They're not ready. They're not ready. Bricks is pretty damn close, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's at that precipice of I think blowing up, and the promising that it holds is, you know, for me, is like that breath of fresh air. But kind of before we go into that, Ken asked the question about incorporating news feeds without them leaving the site, and if there's any plugins for this. And it's basically trying to pull in RSS feeds, I'm assuming, Ken, from other websites into your website, and then keeping them on your website so that whatever information they read, they're not linked over to that article or that corresponding website. Is that right?
I have a solution for that, Anthony.
Well, it's a question that Ken asked, but because I was just reading it in the chat group. But yeah, I'll let you go ahead and speak, Scott, because I had an idea behind it, and I actually ran into this issue. But go ahead.
Well, my suggestion is this: create the feed site yourself.
Are you saying like scrape the data and then have it displayed within your website?
All right. Well, I guess I'll give my game plan away. Look, so I was working on a website called Eat Anything Japan, but the domain name, I really didn't like it. And I'll tell everybody here, I've given up on GeoDirectory for now. It was too complicated to really get working properly. So I went to the Crockablock Elementor thing, and I started EnglishMenus.net. I also bought a really cool domain called Tokyo Top 10. And what I'm going to do with Tokyo Top 10 is I'm going to, which doesn't have a very much stuff on it now. I'm still working on it. But Tokyo Top 10 is actually a bricks and metabox site that I'm going to put like the top 10 restaurants for here, there, and everywhere in Tokyo, because I live here and I can check them out, I can video them, and I can get all the information. But on my englishmenus.net, that's basically going to be the restaurants in Tokyo that have English menus. And what I decided to do is that on the Tokyo Top 10 website, when I list these English menu restaurants with their blog posts and stuff like that, top 10 ramen locations, top 10 whatever location, I was going to put the link to those restaurants to go back to my englishmenus.net website. Do you see? Does that make sense? So I'm kind of trying to create my own RSS to myself, back to myself, kind of, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I also have another website that I'm doing a few more YouTube videos with Tokyo Scooter Guy. And Tokyo Scooter Guy, what he'll do, he's going to drive around Tokyo. It's me, actually. He's going to drive around Tokyo and check out things in Tokyo and put stuff up on YouTube. Well, his YouTube links are going to go both back to englishmenus.net when there's a restaurant and to Tokyo Top 10, you know, as listed on Tokyo Top 10, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm kind of like trying to create my own little, what do you want to call it? Like my own little media conglomerate. And of course, of course, it's going to take a little while to get the SEO and Google to jump on board with it. But I'm hoping that the three can tie into each other. Does that make sense, Ken? I hope
What
that
happens
makes
if you
a
don't
little
own
sense.
that content? What happens if he just wants the RSS feed off MSN?
Well, that's what I think he's asking. He's
Yeah.
literally asking.
Yeah, I think I understand that. I understand that part. And I tried to do some RSS feeds a while ago on a different website, but it was such a pain because you're scrutinized so much. Google doesn't give you credit too much as you'd think they would. I don't know. Maybe somebody else has better insight than I do on
So
that. But
I kind of agree with you on that. And Ken, you may want to be very careful on doing that because it's going to look at it as like duplicate content, right? Because it knows if you're trying to.
Google hates duplicate content.
Yeah. So if you're going to import, let's say there are other tools out there and plugins that allow you to import RSS content and make it as your own. Some of it will even spin it, but I recommend completely against that. But the main thing is you can link them to that other site, but for you to kind of have them stay on your sites, it will kind of be a disservice to the person who created that content, right? So kind of like what Scott was saying is kind of, you know, creating your own piece of content and using that other RSS feed as almost like an additional, you know, read, like, you know, you don't care if they navigate away from your site, but the idea is you're providing that value to the customer. Because at the end of the day, I would even put like a subscribe button, and then they would subscribe to your whatever page you're viewing the content on. And they say if they want to see more stuff like this, they'll sign up, because then that way, if you're grabbing all the cool articles from multiple RSS into one page, they would stay here, not keep going, you know, back to those articles only to read it one time and then come back to you. But the idea is you want to, I mean, I get it. You want to keep them on your site for as long as possible. That's always a plus, and that's the objective goal, but not at the strategy level where that's kind of a ethical issue, right? To kind of, you know, you're literally, you would be taking other people's articles and, you know, making it as yours, unless you cite that source. But again, Google's going to look at it as duplicate content, and you don't want to do that. So a lot of these plugins that are RSS readers do not allow you to like completely embed it without some type of linking.
Well, the good news is there's two up-to-date or newer versions of doing this, right? I used to be the guy who would RSS feed everything about Miami, Florida, and you would have a bunch of RSS feeds, which did link to
my
our
home.
sites. But of course, I was the Miami go-to read, and this was many, many years ago. So it was a sense where, yes, if you went to this site, it could have been MSN, right? Matter of fact, I used to RSS feed YouTube videos, and anything with specific keywords out of a channel, I would pull them in. And yeah, I am that site. But nowadays, there's so many AI writers that you could literally pick up a subscription or even do a free one and get limited words, but have the content on your site, right? And those things will type out whatever you want. And I think that would be, like these guys both mentioned, that'd definitely be better. Creating your own articles. If you don't have the time, maybe you have more money than time. $5, $10 articles from Fiverr. If not, again, looking at 2022, an AI writer. I didn't, if you look at my older webinars, like I never mentioned this. I was like, oh, what is that? Like I never wanted to upgrade out of what I was comfortable with. But those writers are pretty on point right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I use Closer's Copy, and Closer's Copy is really good. I mean, you can do so many things with it. So, Ken, if you want to hook up with Closer's Copy, let me know. But I think there's another thing. If you do like your own thing and try to loop everything back to yourself like that, I mean, yeah, you're kind of outside of Google's loop until Google hooks on to what you're doing. But at the same time, it's all yours. You control it. You have everything on it. There's another plugin that is really good for that would actually it goes through your whole website, and it looks at your links, and it tries to, if you have like, let's say you have 50 articles about whatever on the website, what it'll do is this plugin, it's called Link Whisperer. And what it will do, it will internally link other links within your site so that it pulls people into other parts of your website. So if you're talking about, if you're talking about bourbon whiskey on one of your blog posts and you mention another blog post, it will pop up and it'll say, hey, bourbon whiskey is mentioned in this other article. Would you like to link it? And boom, you say, yes, I want to link it. And boom, when you do stuff like that, and you also put it on other websites, Google loves backlinks. Backlinks is a huge key. If you can get another site to point to you, Link Whisperer. If you can get another website to point to your website because you mentioned something and you have an article there, it's so much better. I know it kind of sucks, Ken, because you're like, man, I don't want to write all this stuff. I don't know what I'm going to say, right? Kind of stuff. But if you get, like, you find an article you like and you go to you get Closer's Copy, you copy that article, you put it in there. There's a couple other ones that are free up front for so many words or whatnot, and you put it through the AI thing and it will redo it. It will reword it. The other thing you need to remember is also facts are not copyrightable. So if you get some fact that says, blood is red, that's a fact. You can copy that and put it directly in your things. I know that's kind of silly and simplistic, but things that are facts, you can copy and paste those into your content all day long. Maybe it's kind of off topic. I was listening directory stuff, but
that's all right, because I mean, we're all trying to do the same thing, and SEO is a big part of it. I have 2 questions for 2 different people. Scott, first off, is Link Whisperer the one? It's just because I was just looking for this for Kim. She's writing blog articles and wants to reference, let's just say the word salt shakers in her article, and wants to link that to an Amazon affiliate link that obviously has salt and pepper shakers. But the problem with that is a year from now, that link is expired or no longer selling. Is that the one that will show you a database of keywords and you can easily just change that and it links all over your site? Will it do that as well? Link Whisperer?
it goes through your own site and it finds the similar keywords between your own site. As far as links go, it might search links.
I think I know what you're talking about, Tim. I think that's called Lasso. Get Lasso.
Wait, what is it? Can you what am I? Get Lasso?
Get Lasso. It allows you to, it stores keywords, and it also tells you like if a Amazon product is no longer in stock, and that you can just swiftly swap it out with something else. But if you scroll down, you can see, I mean, other than
yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is exactly what you were referring to.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Because in one button click or one link change, I want to be able to switch it all across the website.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm thinking about getting
that's the way to do it.
Because again, after a year, it's like, shit, how many times did I use that keyword and why isn't it not linking?
Yeah.
So what's the pricing on this? Pretty bad.
I think it's decent, but it gets expensive when it's more than one site.
$29 a month, bro.
Yeah, I know. For me, I'd have to be making at least that, passively in order for me to use that. But I don't like the fact that it's, if you only want
Everybody is charging a subscription.
it is.
It's horrible.
It
It
is.
used to be like this. I know there was a free WordPress or a one-off plugin that allowed you to do
You
something.
know, a good tip, Tim, is to tell everybody if you see an LTD, if you think you might use it in the future, just grab it up. It
Yep.
just makes so much more sense these
Yeah.
days.
Yep. Yep.
And then
Definitely.
the second question was Anthony, what was it, Jasper? Was that
Yes.
the one that you showed me that day that created the article in front of us?
Yes. Yep. Yep. I can do a live demo, and yeah, I remember showing you, like, basically you can write whatever you want. I've been using it for God knows the
Will
past
you-
2 years.
If you demo it out here on the screen, will that charge you? I don't want to charge you.
No, it doesn't charge me. I got in before I have the unlimited plan, and so
In just a few minutes, can you show these guys what we're talking about?
sure. Give me a second to spin it up.
I want them to see what I've seen. So I was so impressed with, like, and again, I'm not the AI content guy, but I want them to see exactly what I seen.
What plugin is this?
It's
Jasper AI?
Yep, it's Jasper AI. Hang on a second.
Oh, Jasper. Yeah, Jasper's really good. Jasper's
So
really good.
here it is. I'm sharing.
I
my
use
screen.
Closer's Copy.
So, yeah, Closer's Copy came out. I think Jasper came out the first one. I don't know if it was the first one, but it was the first one I've seen, and it was like I said, it was towards the mid 2021. I think it came out. It used to be called Conversion AI. Now they've rebranded to like Jasper after going from Jarvis due to a legal issue with Marvel. They got so big that Marvel stepped in and said, "Yeah, you can't use Jarvis because that's our exclusive brand." Blah blah blah. So they're like,
Yeah,
"All
well, they
right."
took it from Marvel. Come on.
Of course. Now I literally everybody told them do not do that, but they didn't listen. And so when Disney hit them with that legal paper, they were like, "Okay, yeah, we can't win this in court." So they rebranded. But anyways, to kind of show you real quick what Tim was talking about, what I demoed for anyone who's trying to write an article. I've used this instrumental. So like, give me a topic to write about. Anything. Like if you want to write a short form article, long form, or even like, let's say, here's
Airstrips around the world. Anything to dealing with airstrips for Rosemary. She stayed
Okay.
here at 12 o'clock.
Rosemary, I got you, Rosemary. So we're gonna do a workflow. We're gonna talk about airstrips from what?
Around the world. Anything.
Right. So we're just describing what we want. Any keywords?
Wait, world.
Oh, sorry. So you're right. You're totally right. Worlds. And then airstrip would be one. Any particular other keywords?
That's hard.
Maybe the area, because you're serving Australia, right?
Yes, it's
So
Australia.
Australia.
Wait,
I hate that. Yeah.
No, wait, we'll help you. Don't worry. ALIA.
Nope. Yeah. Australia. There you go. All right. Any other one? Like, so when you think of keywords, think of something that you would search in Google that would help you find this particular article that you would look for.
Aviation.
There you go. Aviation. All right. All right. And that's it. So we'll use that, and then airstrips around the world. Now, we'll hit continue, and we'll let it generate some ideas in terms of content, and look right away. You can see if you see any of these particular one that stands out the most, which one would you want to go for?
I like.
Again, you could have created it from scratch, but we're just doing a real quick generating, just real quick.
Yeah.
So fascinating airstrips around the world. I mean, for me, that's fine. But again, I don't want to speak for her. If
Yeah, like what would be an article, that title that you would click on that you saw in the Google search results? Would it be any of these?
Yeah, probably airstrips around the world, the most beautiful and unique airports.
All right, let's go and use that one. we're going to let it generate intro paragraph, and then it's going to allow us to pick one of the
Yeah.
three. Usually like the first or second one is the best, but it gives you 3 iterations and they're similar to each other, but slightly different.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of go with the first one. And then we're just going to hit open editor. So this is the long form editor. And basically in a nutshell, what we've done is we walk through the widget that allows us to generate the title, a brief content description, and the tone of voice, which you can, this open-ended, which means you can talk in third person, you can talk in front of like a celebrity. If you want to type in like Amelia Earhart, you can talk in her tone of voice. And what the AI does is it matches based on research data of that person's emotional language, right? The way they talk, the way they emphasize certain things. So this is open-ended, and based on what you enter here, it'll modify and write slightly different based on that. Just keep that in mind. I'll leave the output length to medium because nobody wants to read a really long paragraph. But let's now hit compose, right? So, and now it's writing it right here off the cuff for me. And so keep in mind that, you know, AI, is as cool as it sounds and as what it's doing, it's not a human replacement. Obviously, it goes without saying you need to go in and put some input there. But see how it just ended it right there? And it's like closing it out. But if we change this up right now, I'm gonna say top 10, let's say top 7 places, top 7 extra places around the world you need to see before you die. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and erase this, and based on that information I just added, it's gonna generate, let me take this out too. No, I don't want to end that too. That's more of a conclusion statement. So now I'm just gonna hit compose. And so what you're seeing here is also what's called boss mode, and you can see it's not outputting the information I want. So I'm just gonna enter a little cheat code right there that tells it to not look at this content, and I'm just gonna put it right here, and I'm gonna tell the machine directly right here into it. I'm just tell it right about the top 10 places to see before you die.
Anthony, while you're generating this, I'm sure they have documentation and tutorials and everything.
Yeah, essentially that's it. So you can see like it's just constantly creating. Now I have no way of fact checking this, and I would I say this with the utmost urgency: always fact check and always look at the supporting sentence structure and make sure that it's accurate, because I've known for this AI writer and any AI writer for that matter to not always be 100% factual. So sometimes
Yeah, you have to include some
research.
manual stuff on your own. You have to
Absolutely.
really like look at it and reword, even though they give you rewording,
Mhm.
reword it yourself, you know,
Yep.
rewrite it, change a few words here and there, because otherwise Google for somehow, I don't know how they do it. They know when something is AI
Yeah,
generated.
that is very true. And it's based on human language. They know people and machines talk completely different structure, right? So I would go to say, as you read it, if you don't like the way it says something in your particular tone of voice, you write it in or just, substitute it. But I would say this is more like an assistant writer, not a complete way of rewriting an entire article for you. Just keep that in mind, and that it writes creatively and not always factually.
Well, listen, I don't know, but the article you spun up for my kiteboarding directory, that was 100% on. I
It
didn't,
is.
I didn't change a single word other than adding links to my words. And that thing it was like top 21 things you could do for lessons or what you're looking for kiteboarding lessons. I'm a kiteboard instructor, so I mean, that thing was spot on. And again, yeah, I could have made changes. I didn't. I just threw it up on the website, and I was happy with it. But that's my disclaimer, right? Definitely always look over. If you get something from Fiverr, look it over, right? Make sure that it's talking
Yes.
about.
Closer's copy is really close to that. It's really similar.
Yeah. And so that's
Closer
the
copy
go ahead.
has a few. Sorry, Anthony, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, that was the long form content editor I showed you for blog writing. But one of the more useful things also is like, as you're creating your website, you want to write certain marketing content. I hate writing marketing content. If I don't have to think about it, this helps. And literally helps, when it comes to writing those content elements on your homepage, and things throughout your site to kind of convince somebody to keep reading on or to purchase your service and things like that. So this is where like a product description, or in this case, um, let's say we're going to use like airstrips, but we're not going to we're going to change this up a little bit in terms of its usage. Airplanes, we need to see, right? And with the content description, okay, and then
So many people don't want to write their own blogs. They're like, no, let's just take it off the site. I'm like, dude, you're going to be missing out. Keep it on the site. Just take off the video. So while he's pulling this up, guys, I'm copied over both your affiliate links. I normally don't advertise affiliate links, but Anthony and Scott for Jasper versus Closer Copy. I'm gonna add those to the video description. So maybe you guys get a kickback, or if people have questions, maybe they'll contact me. Maybe you guys will be interested in helping if they use your link. But
Yeah, thanks.
I-
You know,
ahead.
what the cool thing is that also, Anthony, is that if you don't know what to write and you just start writing something, a lot of these, I think Jasper does it too, is they have the expand what you write,
Yes, yep.
like Seattle
Sense.
has the coolest grunge bands in the world. You type something like that and you tell it to expand it, and it uses like the GPT-3 AI engine, or it uses something else. It will go out there and it will research really quick, and it will add to that, and then whatever result there is, you can expand it more. That's the cool thing about it. You just go in and change it. I would say this about making copy for yourself: change the writing so that you're writing to someone as if you were talking directly to them. That's the
Absolutely.
key.
Yep.
That's really the big key. Say, hey, the other day I went to this place and blah, 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 blah. Talk to them like that, like a one-on-one conversation you're having with someone. And that will change things around. And if you can't think of the words, just click on like expand, and these AI things expand everything. They like give you a whole bunch of other stuff. And you're like, you know what? I didn't think of that. And then you take what they expanded, change that a little bit, and expand it more, change that a little bit, expand it more. You just keep rotating it. And all of a sudden you have a 1,000-word blog, and you're done.
Yeah. And I what I showed you is just a little piece of it, but kind of like what you're saying, there's an outline method. I think I showed you, Tim, but you literally structure your blog article based on an outline. You have certain questions you want to answer, or certain things, and you can create what they call a recipe. And the recipe follows a formula that the machine knows and understands, and just literally goes through what you've asked and it answers it. Now, obviously, it goes without saying, you come in and make edits to that, but and you can literally do it in like 10-15 minutes instead of like 2-3 hours that would take you to start writing that kind of content.
Yours didn't take 10-15 minutes, man. In 3 to 5 minutes, man, you had this article that I'm looking at right now that I posted, bro.
Yeah.
But listen, I appreciate the talk on AI, guys. I don't want to hog up too much time. We're going to finish up with some questions. I know it wasn't a big group, but I want to do these weekly. And again, I appreciate both your times. If we have any final questions, or anybody that wants to elaborate on anything, again, it's not just for us. Rosemary, Ken, Anthony, Scott. I mean, I'm glad you guys showed up. I think we had Mario at some point. But more importantly, it's for the channel. These guys definitely eat this stuff up, and we're all here for the same reason, right? It's not just blog content writing. It's how to make your directory bigger. And the whole focus of this was, how do you get people to your directory? And that is definitely the SEO value. It's long term. There's no dollars spent. Actually, the AI writer is going to cost you a couple dollars, but there's no dollars spent on the long term advertisement. So
I have a suggestion.
Sure.
Okay. I suggest that when you make one of your listings, okay, like in Crocoblock, we can set up like a video field, right?
Yep.
So another option you can offer your customer is like, hey, let me come in and make a video of your location. And either you go in and you take a few pictures of their location, or you take a video of their location, which you can grab screenshot pictures from as well. There is a website called invideo.io that will actually take any images you put in and you can create a video without using your own voice even. You can have a voiceover that is completely AI generated and it's really freaking cool. So I just wanted to suggest that also. It's just another option you can add to your listing directories for your customers, you know.
Definitely an upsell. Why buy the premium plan? Well, we include a video, you know, and then that is an experience right here. So that's
So,
great.
and I got a question for the both of you, and this kind of applies to Ken and what he was referring to earlier that I was trying to look back to, which is the RSS feed. With Croco blocks, and I haven't figured out a way to do this, and maybe Tim or Scott, you can chime in on this, but how, like when you, let's say you're creating a because I'm planning to create a directory listing that allows people to submit their articles, but not necessarily um, create an article content, but more so link it back to their site. But they need to have an RSS feed, right? And so what I'm trying to do is have a dynamic content where all they have to do is enter the URL of their RSS feed. And then on the front end, when someone sees their profile, they can see the latest 5 articles that they created, and then it jumps back to that person's website. And so I was trying to figure out how to do this in Crockle Blocks. And I know the easy way is like, obviously you can do a dynamic link, but how do you display RSS feed in a dynamic way that only needs to be provided via a RSS feed link on the front end? You know, this is all through the front end site part. And so I couldn't find a way to do this without involving an extra plugin, you know, and even the other plugins don't really have a way to call a custom field for a RSS feed link that's provided by the user, the front end submission form. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Wouldn't what I said before, having your own content on both issues cover that?
Well, no, but this would not be your own content. So like I have, let's say 30 people that want to, they're like they create their own content. I want to promote them, right? I want to promote their content, not necessarily my content. I'll have my own content, but they'll have their own, vendor page or whatever you want to call it. And when people look at their page, they can see the latest 5, blog articles that they created and link it back to their website. But that can be done through RSS feeds. It's just how do you dynamically display it on the front end in a way it renders just the title, the featured image, and any other prevalent metadata that's needed. And so I could not figure that out.
I wonder sometimes, Anthony, if we should just get our customers to create their own affiliate links for us.
So
Right.
definitely, I mean, I haven't done it before, but definitely, and I don't know if you can do it just within Grogo Box, right? But I'm looking at my RSS feed right now for my 2 blog posts. Like I can pull in this data, but I mean, at some point, you're right. A third-party plugin, I know for a fact.
But here's the thing. I've looked at all the popular ones out there. They don't support, like, even if you install a third-party plugin and let's say they have a widget using Elementor. Well, it doesn't allow you to pull from a dynamic, using that dynamic tag, Elementor's dynamic tag, so you can select the custom field. It doesn't do that. I did find a way eventually, but it was very murky to say the least. And I didn't like the solution, but it was like, oh, well, it's what I got for now.
That's
And
a PHP function would definitely
it
cover.
was using, I found some code using some elements in terms of HTML attributes to be able to tie that in. But I found a code on codepen.io where sometimes I kind of look for seeing if there's like a basic HTML RSS feeder that I can create that automatically do that for me and just render it in HTML. There is a way to do it strictly through HTML. And so that would eliminate the use of another plugin. But again, it just wasn't the best solution. And I was just looking for something that allows us to dynamically link a custom field so that when someone enters, kiteboardingforyou.com/RSS, it's going to pull all of Tim's latest, articles, the last 10 articles he's published.
Unfortunately, every time you contact me, it's not as easy as it seems. It's like, yeah, let's do this. I'm like, yeah, that should be
I mean,
easy.
can't you just link directly to their RSS if they have an RSS?
Right, but the idea is to show the
Right.
the content that he created, right? So I want them to see like those 10 article titles that Tim created on my site, so that when they click on it, they're like, oh, this is an interesting read. Okay, cool. And they click on it, and then they can read his article on his site. I don't care if it'll open in a new window anyways, but that's not the problem here. The problem is, how do you render that information on the front end? And there isn't a
Yes.
very clean cut way to do it.
If you had 10 users on your site, obviously you definitely want to use the RSS link from 10 different users.
Yes.
And let's just say they had profiles, and each profile that you opened up, had 10 links, or there are 10 different RSS feeds. And he's right, getting 10 different based on dynamic field, even though it seems like it could be easy with CrocoBox, it's probably not, because you're using a single plugin or a single method that is not going to be this method. And the plugins would work best, but a lot of times it's for you as an admin to show what you want to show, not dynamically through 10 people. And I see exactly what you're saying, but
Yeah. So
Right.
I have a working solution that I'm gonna implement later on, and I'll share that with you, Tim and Scott, later on once I get it working.
Cool.
And
Cool.
if you guys are
Well, you know
interested,
what I was thinking? Why wouldn't you convince the customer to set up an RSS feed of their information?
well,
No,
that's not the problem.
they'll have the feed. That's not-
Everybody has a feed. If you have a WordPress site, you automatically have a feed. The issue
Right.
is displaying that feed on your website dynamically through a link that they provide, right?
Ah.
So it's like, hey, you have your own
Can't just
blog.
place an RSS feed like link from theirs, like one of the fields. Their field is what is their RSS feed there, and then
So-
it pops up on your site.
So here we are, but populating this data on your website, right? This is Rosemarie's feed, which she probably didn't even know she had. But again, taking this data and displaying it on your site,
Yeah.
you're pulling content from here. And again, there's ways you can do that, but then and I also think it's going to change, because some of these like title link that's like pretty descriptive, but not all feeds look exactly
Everything you
like
sent.
this,
Yeah. Yep.
you know?
You're absolutely right, Tim. And to answer your question, Scott, too, just imagine you coming on to a directory that promotes blog articles, right? And you have to fill out a profile. Well, one of the questions they ask you is, what is your RSS feed? So they have the RSS feed. All you do is enter your RSS feed from your website, and then it's just going to display the latest 10 articles on their website, and it's going to link back to you, to your article. But for me to, I can't just simply copy and paste your RSS feed and say, here's Scott's RSS feed, and have it display that way, because that's not actually providing the value. The value is providing multiple sources of like high-end authors in a unified way, where you can see 10 articles
Right.
from
So
Tim.
so you
10
can
articles-
provide the link, but you can't necessarily provide the data
Yeah.
visually
Yeah.
for the customer. I
Correct.
understand. Right. Right. What about using an iframe or an embed or something?
I thought about that too. It just doesn't look as clean.
I hate iframes,
Me
by the way.
too.
So
Me
you
too.
know, I hate iframes.
Mobile phones hate it. And it's not it. Weird things happen, because imagine when you hit the back button when you're inside of iframe, then
Mhm.
it double loops a website within it, and so you're like, oh snap, what happened here? So I just tend to stay away from iframe or anything that uses iframe.
Mm.
But yeah,
Maybe collectively the three of us should Or the five of us that are still here should go into like Crocoblock and say, "Hey, we want to display RSS feeds."
Not us, right? Either way, guys, listen, I appreciate your time today. If there's any last questions, this conversation was actually great because we had three guys who, actually, we had a lot of people who had a lot of knowledge on the topics. Rosemary, I know she's been working on her site for, I want to say, over a year.
Hi, Rosemary.
Hi, how are you?
She's probably half asleep right now. When we started, it was 12. It's probably 1:30.
What are you talking about? It's 2:30
Oh,
here.
I was about to say.
Ken Scott is also on that time. So Scott, late night for both you guys. So listen, we'll finalize this one. I think I want to do these every week. I mean, if I have the time, maybe even an hour. But I appreciate everybody chiming in, whether it's questions, answers. We found a lot of solutions. And the good thing is I didn't have to talk my ass off. So it was great having you guys around. With some of these, I'm just making up conversations. So let's talk about topics, things that we can do. Maybe it's just an open, but let's get more people. I remember some of our webinars had 20 people in them. So again, was a little bit smaller, but again, the YouTube channel kind of primes off that. So again, I'll post some affiliate links here. If anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, you guys know how to reach me. One more thing is join the directory group. I know you guys are in it. It doesn't matter what theme you're using, what setup you're using, what system and tool set you're using. But if this loads, maybe it's the directory management. I don't even know my own group. Give me just a sec. We'll load it up. My VPN is acting crazy. But again, I appreciate your time. Here we go. Directory websites, develop management ideas. We're not biased here. Again, I don't care what you're using. I don't care if your system sucks. I don't care if it's the greatest. Let's just help each other out. It's growing. I don't know what was going on. I was at like 512, 520 members maybe 2 weeks ago. So this has been blowing up recently. I just keep seeing them getting added. I'm hoping it's from YouTube, but again, I'm just not sure. So hopefully we'll see you guys next week.
Hey, post this video in there. That's what you need to do. Post this video in there, the link to it.
I definitely will post this video
Yes.
in there, as well as on the channel. And I think at some point we'll probably do a giveaway. I remember the Listing Pro theme. As soon as I hit like 1,000 members, I gave away like $200 worth of gift cards. And they were only $5 Starbucks gift cards, but everybody was happy. It was really big. So at some point we'll do something just to kind of entice users. But yeah, I want to thank you guys extremely for coming and all your help.
Hey Tim, quick question. When is this gonna be posted?
Come on, Ken. Give me a break.
The first thing he says.
I just get off. I get
That
off of my
reminds me of
lunch.
that Van Halen
I
song.
just got off my
One
lunch.
break,
So now I can
coming up.
Listen, leave me alone. I am gonna, as soon as I hit stop recording or leave, it will stop recording. I will try to post it up with all of my heart right after this. Again,
There is
just
no
Okay.
try, but
I do not do. You
Give it
must.
Cool, man. Thanks, Tim.
give
Thanks,
it
guys.
2 hours because you know how it is. But yeah, I'm gonna try to post this just because you brought it up. But thanks for coming.
Okay, thanks, guys. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Bye, guys.
See you later,
Bye.
Tim. See you later, Scott.